Our final announcement of a big week of announcements. We here at the Simpich Heritage Center are going to begin our official Simpich character doll repair service. This is something we're excited about this because really upholding what my parents did for 54 years is paramount to me and to my family. And we want you to have dolls that are in good shape. And you know, just as time is going on, the ravages of time can take their toll. And we encourage everyone to take very special care of their dolls. But things happen, you know. There's a thing called dust, and there's a thing called tripping and having something being knocked over. And we want to help people have their cherished collections be tip-top. We're going to have 3 levels of repair service. And we worked hard on this to figure out what we can do realistically and be fair to our customers and also to the pieces, to the artwork. And I'm going to kind of go through the levels and kind of share with you what we can do. The official repairers are going to be myself and my brother Reg. And we both have had a lot of experience through the years of looking at these characters and working with them. So we're both excited about this. Level 1. This is a piece that doesn't have a lot of damage. We have a newsboy here. He's in pretty good shape, but he needs a little help. And it's really something that is reasonable for us to check out his positioning, check his stand, spruce it up a little. It's kind of a sprucing up, actually. Now you'll notice that here on the back of his head, he has a scuff on his hat, and that's going to require paint. And that has to be carefully matched, and but a very reasonable kind of repair to get him back to A+. He has his branding on the bottom, so he's in pretty good shape. And we can pull him up, and so this is level 1. And a lot of pieces are this way. If they've been cared for at all, you know, this kind of thing does happen. You know, if they're out for Christmas, which they need to be, that's their job. It's going to get bumped. It's going to get knocked around a little bit. Going to get a little bit of glitter or snow, or have a little scuff. Level 2 is a little more complicated. Now this particular Santa does not have any damage to his face. I have to say that the hydrocal heads, hands, and feet are the most common sources of damage. That's where you find things chipped. They need a little bit of paint. Sometimes they need to be built up, but we'll get into that in a moment. This guy needs no build up or that kind of repair on his face. And then of course he has gloved hands, so his hands are okay. And then he has his boots. This guy just needs some paint. He needs a lot of spiffing up on his base, a lot of sprucing up on his bag, some paint on the little ornaments on the tree in his bag. He needs to be repositioned a little bit. But it's not an overwhelming or particularly difficult repair for my brother or for me to execute that and get this level 2 piece just pristine and back in good shape for Christmas. So there are lots of pieces that are that way. And let me give you another example of a level 2. Flute Man, very fragile doll. This is a Flute Man. Now see, his nose is not chipped really, but the paint has come off. So that's not a particularly difficult sort of repair to approach and bring him back to A+. Has a little scuff on his lip, a little scuff on his cheek. His hands are still in good shape, which that's a good thing for a flute player, because to have all your fingers and be a Simpich flute player, you're doing well. And he has an old style flute. His sticker on his stand is in pretty good shape. So, you know, this is a very reasonable level 2 repair. Level 3. Ah, this poor guy. He took a fall. This is a woodland Santa, a wonderful piece. He broke his foot badly. Not only is it completely broken off, part of the actual sculpture of the boot is missing. So it will have to be built up. So he'll have to be placed back on his stand. He will have to have his boot repaired and built up. That's a whole different process. He needs his Christmas tree. He lost it in the fall. That will have to be reattached. So level 3. Here's another example of a level 3. A lantern man without a nose. This happens. Can't just repair this with paint. It requires sculpture build up, and that is a level 3. So anytime that the actual sculpture of the doll has to be repaired, actually sculpted up back into shape, level 3. There's a wide variety of things. If a doll is missing his accessory, there's a chance we could have access to like a newspaper, possibly for a newsboy that's missing a newspaper, or a crutch, or, you know, it would depend. Our supplies are limited, so that has to be investigated before we'd be able to accept a repair like that. But I need to share with you a little bit about a repair that we can't accept. When you get into the realm of their clothes, their costumes, we have great limitations. The fabrics that were used on these for 54 years, many of them are no longer available. We couldn't match them. We could not undress the doll to redress it with a fresh costume. So I can do a few repairs, or let's just touch-ups, just a little fix for some kinds of stains. But I was looking at this poor fat man. He's got no telling what he had for lunch. But he spilled something on his coat here, and that stain cannot be removed. We cannot guarantee that stains to clothes can be repaired. We cannot repair fading. We cannot repair smoke or fire damage. Sometimes we can't repair a dog's snack, because there have been dogs that have loved to dine on Simpich character dolls and shred the costume. I'm afraid it's probably a better idea to consider replacing your doll with a new one from our collection, rather than trying to repair. But sometimes, you know, the sentimental value of the dolls you received from your parents or from your grandparents, or, you know, it's a treasure in your family, it may be worth seeing if we can repair it for you. So that's going to be the process, and we'll have to evaluate. There's a whole process of evaluating whether we can do the repair, and then set up which level it is, and then set about to restore your doll. So we're excited about this, and right now I am going to get started on this Santa. You know, back in the early 1980s, actually 1982, it was the year I met my wife Debbie. I was working in the finishing room of the Simpich workshop, and Santa with toy bag was one of my jobs. And I would mount him to his stand and attach the toy bag and stuff the toy bag and touch him up. So this is a gentleman I'm very familiar with. And I have to say, this repair was a little bit of a tricky one. He had some interesting it was kind of surface problems, but it took a while. You know, I started out late morning and it's late afternoon now, so it took a while to spiff him up, but I think he's ready to go now. Also, something brand new and very exciting. This character has his certificate of authenticity, which I signed today, and this will be presented with the future owner of this doll. And all the dolls that come through our workshop now will have their own certificate. We feel this is a very important thing to uphold and increase the value of the Simpich dolls. So he's ready to go, and so is our repair service. So we're excited to offer this, and it's a new frontier for us, but it's also harking back to something old and preserving something very important.